Hey, give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. Don't play with me.
Self-defense. It conjures up images of expert fighters using highly advanced techniques.
Let's see if I can stop him with just one finger. Here we go, walk forward.
That's amazing.
But how can an average person learn the secrets of survival in a life and death confrontation? In this custom-designed laboratory, a team of top physiologists, self-defense experts, and computer technicians
This is saying exactly what I'm saying.
will employ a variety of advanced biomechanical sensors,
The things I do for science.
revolutionary high-speed video, and state-of-the-art 3D animation to explore some of the best methods of turning victims into victors. It's the incredible anatomy of human weapons. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reported over 5 million violent crimes last year.
Some basic principles can make the difference between life and death.
So experts have come together to turn knowledge
2, 1.
into power. Hand-to-hand combat specialists will show how to predict an attack before it happens. Physiologists and engineers will test the body's anatomical weaknesses, the target's experts attack in defense situations. And martial artists and self-defense instructors will turn everyday objects into weapons, showing how they can literally fight back with anything, even in the dark. All with one goal in mind: use knowledge of the human anatomy and awareness of one's surroundings to survive a self-defense situation. Every day, all over the world, innocent people are physically assaulted by criminals intent on robbery, rape, or murder. Amir Peretz taught self-defense to the Israeli military and has over 20 years of martial arts training. He believes that if someone has no choice but to fight back, the best defense is a good offense.
Must counterattack explosively, without hesitation.
The trick is hitting them where it hurts the most. The only goal: separation and escape. There's a roadmap for this escape plan, courtesy of the human anatomy. Our bodies are covered with weak points.
Weak points are areas on the body that no one can make stronger. From the front, the eyes, the nose, filtrum, chin, throat, which include windpipe, carotid arteries, clavicle bone, solar plexus, groin, the temple, the jaw, the liver, the thighs, and all the joints and articulation.
Self-defense experts Amir Peretz and Brent Foster know exactly where to target.
I can hit you in the eyes, in the nose, in the jaw, in the throat, knees to the groin.
I bet you didn't see that coming.
But once they know where to hit, can an average human, like Fight Science lead scientist Dr. Cindy Burr, actually incapacitate an attacker?
So the thing we want to test today is anatomical weaknesses, right? So we know sometimes it takes a very little force to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So you guys are obviously well trained and can generate a lot of power. But someone like myself, I don't have the power that you guys have. So I need to kind of, use what I have, but in the right location. So what is one particular area that we're going to try to target today?
The filth room, located just between the upper lip and the nose.
interesting thing about this particular area, the philtrum area, is it really doesn't take a huge amount of force to incapacitate someone.
Bren is a very strong guy. If I'll try to stop him from moving forward and I put my hand on his chest, Bren, move forward, don't let me stop you, don't let me stop you. See, I cannot stop him. But let's see if I can stop him with my index finger, just one finger, right? Let's see if it works. Here we go, walk forward.
No chance.
It really is possible to stop someone, even a powerful man, with a single finger. How? Simple physics.
He was able to incapacitate the attacker simply by creating a moment arm off the center of balance that forced the neck back. It's enough to disturb the equilibrium and push the person back. There's no way you can get past that, no matter how strong you are.
The philtrum is loaded with sensitive nerve endings, so pressure here creates not just leverage, but that familiar burning, tearing eye sensation.
Okay, but you know what you're doing. So what if, like, Cindy tried to do that?
Try it.
Give it.
Are you gonna try?
Yeah, give it a
You
shot.
okay with this, Bren?
Go ahead.
Okay, so just right here?
Just 45
push
degrees
back?
upwards.
45 degrees up.
That's correct.
Okay.
Very good.
How cool is that?
That's amazing, because I mean, he's a big guy. I wouldn't think I'd be able to hold him back at all. So definitely effective.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. I can still feel the pain.
So there's nerves and vessels, right?
Yep, the nerves are getting crunched, and that's causing that tearing sensation. Just a great point to hit, for sure.
So the bundle of nerves just beneath the nose is a key self-defense target. In a real fight, experts recommend a simple defense. A sharp strike to the philtrum, then escape. But is a quick hit enough to take out an attacker? This $250,000 punching bag will provide the answer.
The head form I brought today is called the Focus head form. It's probably the most advanced head form that there is out there right now.
FOCUS stands for Facial and Ocular Countermeasure Safety. Developed in conjunction with the U.S. Army, the FOCUS head was designed to study facial injuries and is fitted with special sensors called load cells that measure the force of an impact.
The objective of this test is really to see how much force is generated when Amir does his strike, because we know the tolerance of the human body. Okay, you ready, Amir? Mm-hmm. Okay. 3, 2, 1, strike.
Amir hits the dummy with 506 pounds of force, a level that will cause severe pain with the potential to break bones. Even with the force of an average human being, this is a devastating strike. The sensors in the FOCUS head form reveal why. A 500-pound strike to the nose will usually crush the nasal cartilage and break the nose. Nerve bundles in the nasal area send pain signals to the brain. The eyes tear up, obstructing vision. Blood, swelling, increased mucus production, and fragments of bone make breathing difficult. Small blood vessels in the nostrils break, causing profuse bleeding. Many people believe that striking the nose with the heel of the palm will kill an attacker by driving the septum straight up the sinus cavity and into the brain. But this is a myth. 2 bones deep in the skull block direct passage from the sinuses to the brain. Even so, it's still an effective blow for self-defense. A sharp blow beneath the nose can incapacitate an attacker. But the face isn't the only vulnerable point. The lower body also has a number of weak spots that are susceptible to a quick defensive strike.
Me personally, I'd like to attack the knee. It's vulnerable because the knee has no lateral movement, it doesn't move from side to side. So if you can attack it on a particular angle, that's going to incapacitate an opponent very quickly.
So, Bren, we're going to ask you to kick this crash test dummy in the knee, and we're going to actually measure how much force you generate with that kick. We're actually going to use a TechScan pressure pad. That will tell us exactly how much force or pressure is generated during that kick. Ready, Bren?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, kick. Okay.
As a 5th-degree black belt in Taekwondo, Bren can do a significant amount of damage with any kick.
You generated 251 pounds per square inch.
That's probably enough to shatter the patella. Definitely would snap the ligaments, press the leg back so fast, it'd do a lot of damage.
And you obviously injured my sensor as well. I think this one is definitely done for.
Clearly, an expert strike to the knee is devastating. But can an average person take out an attacker's knee, or at least cause enough damage to get away? The answer lies in the science of the strike. Experts say that it's not the force of the impact that matters most, it's the direction. The key lies in the way the knee is designed to bend in flexion to facilitate sitting. But when the leg extends to a standing position, the joint locks and cannot bend in the other direction. Striking it in this position can cause hyperextension and severe damage to the delicate internal ligaments and cartilage pads within the knee joint. Snapping the joint backwards can damage the anterior cruciate ligament, or ACL, and striking it sideways can take out the medial collateral ligament, or MCL. Either way, it's like chopping down a tree. Without structural support, the knee collapses, and so does the attacker. So even an average person can incapacitate an attacker by striking their knee joint. But what if the assailant is much larger than their victim? Can little really defeat big? Can a woman really fight off a larger man? Kelly Campbell is a self-defense instructor in Krav Maga, the martial art form of the Israeli Defense Forces. With a third-degree black belt, she's the highest-ranked female in the United States.
It's about being mentally prepared. Can I get away? If not, have a plan. Know where to strike and when.
When attacked by Bren Foster, who outweighs her by over 25 pounds, she'll go for one of his weak points.
The wrist happens to be a really complicated joint.
Once again, the wrist is a great target thanks to the evolution of the joint.
There are 8 bones in the wrist called carpals, so because of all of the bones in the wrist, there's a lot of ways to be able to torque it or create some kind of force against it that will put it into a weak spot.
Bren will use a very common attack, trying to choke Kelly by the throat. She'll have only a few seconds to escape before she blacks out.
It takes about 3 to 8 seconds to get choked out, which is plenty of time to make a defense so that you can go home safely.
Okay, Bren, you ready? Kelly, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, go. Okay.
I was able to get out of that defense in less than 1 second.
I attacked Kelly and grabbed her throat. Through her body motion, she turned and actually trapped my hand. She locked it in, I couldn't move it, which actually set me up as a sitting duck.
The secret of Kelly's escape is the torque generated by the rotating speed of her body.
Wow, 580 degrees, or is that?
Yeah, well,
is
yeah,
that topped out?
580 degrees per second. So that's how fast you were rotating.
And at that speed, I mean, you're rotating around like a Major League Baseball hitter. That's how fast your hips are coming around.
And that's really the key. When he's holding strong and he's got a lot of strength,
It's really about, from here, just this motion alone, you can tell by my voice that I can breathe.
and it's that torque that is the key to the defense. It's my whole body against the wrist.
The key here is speed, not strength. By spinning, Kelly uses her whole body's movement of inertia against Bren's wrist, so she doesn't have to outmuscle him. Physics, not physical strength. When their lives are on the line, experts will reach for anything that can save them. Champion Taekwondo instructor Bren Foster also teaches self-defense to people who have never studied martial arts. One of his most important lessons: common objects can be used as weapons to fend off an attack.
A victim can turn everyday items into capable self-defense weapons. by targeting the anatomical weaknesses of the attacker to create time and distance in order to escape.
Most of us carry an arsenal of self-defense tools with us every day without even realizing it. Even simple items like magazines or keys can become weapons. But how effective are they?
Okay guys, as a female, one of the times when I'm most fearful is when I'm working late at night and then I start to walk out to my car. It's dark, that's the prime time for attacks. What do I have that I could use in case I were attacked?
Well, firstly, awareness is the most important thing. Secondly, you should always get in the habit of carrying your keys in between your fingers like this. Keep the palm, the base in the palm, the stem protruding through. If you get in the habit of just carrying it like that and a situation does occur, then you'll be ready to strike.
A large enough force concentrated in that key will definitely be able to penetrate the skin and could do considerable damage, especially to the weak spots in the face.
Certainly.
But can ordinary keys really help to fend off an attack?
So where exactly should I target?
Anywhere through the sinuses here, the top lip under here, anywhere from here to here.
The surprise element is going to be a big factor as well. Nobody's going to be expecting to get hit in the face with a sharp object that they can't see.
But is it enough to stop an attacker in their tracks? Once again, technology will tell the tale. The scientists want to know how effective this strike could be against a real target. So they've brought in a ballistics gel head form that accurately represents a human skull.
So it's anatomically correct. It has all the facial bones that a human skull would have. Then what we've done is we've surrounded it in ballistics gel. What that ballistics gel represents is the soft tissue of the human face.
Bren places the key between his index and middle fingers. With the base anchored firmly against his palm, the key protrudes like a cat's claw. But will it just scratch, or can it actually save a life?
Okay, Bren, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, strike.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you went right in there, and probably dissect this down, we could see maybe even a mark right on the bone. Did you feel like you hit the bone?
I don't think I hit bone.
It could have glanced off the bone, went into the eye cavity.
High-speed filming reveals the extent of the destruction. Bren's 2-inch steel key hits the gel head with 247 pounds of force. It penetrates the ballistics gel and strikes the cheekbone, deflecting off into the eye socket.
That amount of force would certainly break the bone.
But the eye is so sensitive that even half that amount of force could temporarily incapacitate an attacker.
Into the center, all the bones sliding into the eye, it's good enough. Just aiming to the center of the face, it's good enough.
The secret is surface area, when all of the force is concentrated into the point of a single key. Even minimal pressure from an average person can inflict serious damage. But what if someone isn't carrying their keys? Some self-defense experts say just about anything could be used as a weapon.
So I understand you can take something as simple as a magazine and use it as a weapon.
You certainly can. What I like to do, I roll it very, very tightly, as tight as I possibly can.
It may take a few seconds, but stalling an attacker can create enough time to fight back.
Now from here, if I fold this in the center, really squeeze that bend point, I now have a very strong striking surface.
So you're thinking you can generate more force with that magazine rolled up than you could with just your bare fist?
I think the force could be equal to my punch, but because of the concentrated area, I could do particular damage to particular things.
Okay, well, we have something for you to test that theory on, okay? So we're gonna come over here. What we have inside here is an 1/8-inch piece of tempered glass.
In this test, Bren will attempt to break the glass, first with his fist, then with a rolled-up magazine. The purpose? To see if he can cause more damage with an object that has less surface area.
In order to protect Bren's hand, we're gonna have him wear a boxing glove because we're a little concerned that he might break the glass.
A strain gauge on the glass will measure the impact forces and send data to a computer.
Our goal is to see kind of how much damage you can cause with just your strike versus your strike with the magazine rolled up.
3, 2, 1, punch.
The strain gauge shows that even with a padded glove, Bren stresses the glass with 7,000 pounds per square inch.
Okay, so you didn't break it.
No.
That's a
Okay.
good shot, though.
What do you think? Do you think you're going to break it with the magazine?
I think because it's a concentrated area with the magazine, that's going to be really focused.
So it's going to cause more damage?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Bren will strike the glass again, but this time he'll use his improvised weapon. Will it increase the effectiveness of his strike? Even a tiny improvement could be the difference between fighting back and falling prey.
You ready, Bren?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, punch.
Bren strikes the glass with even less force than he did with his fist, but he creates more stress in the glass, over 18,000 pounds per square inch. But the folded magazine concentrates the impact into a much smaller area, less effort, yet more damage. The results are shattering.
So that was effective.
Yeah. It was clear with the folded magazine, I did a lot more damage to the glass than I did with my fist.
So a simple weapon, almost anything at hand, like a folded magazine, can give even an average person a major boost in effectiveness and thus a fighting chance to survive. Here's how it works. As with the key strike, many weapons' effectiveness comes from simple physics. The concentration of relatively modest force into a tiny surface area. It's especially effective when striking a vulnerable area of the body, such as the throat. An impact here of sufficient force can crush the trachea, cutting off the assailant's airflow. The lesson: almost anything can be used as an improvised weapon, turning an ordinary punch into a devastating blow through the application of pure physics. But how do experts fight back when the assailant is the one with the weapon?
Fighting back is your last option. If you could not avoid it, solve the situation as fast as possible and leave the area.
When fleeing isn't an option, the first obstacle to overcome is panic. In a life-or-death situation against an armed opponent, how does someone conquer their fear and take control of their body's natural instinct to defend itself? Helping us answer this question is Jonathan Dugas, a police officer who's also a Krav Maga instructor, and Amir Peretz, our self-defense expert. Their first situation is all too common in street attacks, an assailant with a club or bat.
Okay, Amir, what are my options if somebody comes after me with something like this?
Well, overall, the concept and the main principle is to close the distance suddenly and explosively, so the lower and closer you get, you deal with less resistance. The natural reaction to attack with a bat is to just raise your hand over your head and cover up. And that causes people to break their arm because of the angle, 90-degree angle.
Human long bones are weakest horizontally, so absorbing the full impact across the arm is a recipe for disaster.
Just leaning forward and sending your hand forward, you see that you're already starting to deflecting and redirecting the stick. Right. If you lower yourself more, the stick will be deflected away from you.
The surprising secret: don't shrink away from the strike, lunge toward it. It appears to work, moving into the baton instead of away and deflecting its impact on an angle. But will the physics bear out the theory?
What we're going to do is we're going to try to test that theory out using a couple different things. First of all, we have a stick that we've instrumented. Okay, so this is a standard kind of stick that you might come up against, right? Mm-hmm. So, and what I've done is we've put an accelerometer on the top of it. We're going to have you actually test this theory on a crash test dummy.
Substituting for a real human is our crash test dummy, with its arm strapped into a common defensive position, perpendicular to the angle of attack. Sensors inside the arm will measure the impact of the blow, and an accelerometer in the baton will measure the speed.
Amir, are you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, strike.
Amir swings the baton at 82 feet per second, delivering a strike of 2,373 pounds of force. The nightstick Amir is using is a standard police baton made of hardened nylon that flexes on impact. Yet it delivers over a ton of force. Easily enough to break both the ulna and the radius bones in the forearm. The strike hits both bones across their weakest axis. This injury could be debilitating. The victim would have no chance of escape. The crew repositions the dummy for the next test, but now its arms are extended forward in line with the angle of attack, the angle that experts recommend for self-defense.
Okay, Amir, is this basically how someone should react when someone comes at him with a bat?
About, yes.
Okay, so kind of in this position.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, you ready, Amir?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, strike.
Once again, Amir swings at 82 feet per second, but the data is strikingly different. Because of the angle of the arm, he deals the dummy only a glancing blow with a measured impact of only 200 pounds of force, 1/10 the force of the initial strike, and not nearly as likely to break bones. The club then slides down the side of the arm and is deflected away from the body. It's pure physics and geometry. The defensive move gives the defender a chance to escape.
Okay, I think we can see pretty clearly it's a lot different, right?
The concept is, again, to close the distance, you deflect and redirect the attack.
So we're talking the difference between having an abrasion or a scratch versus a broken arm. Well, that's great information to know, because I never would have thought of that.
But what if the attack weapon is a gun? It's a common attack scenario and one of the most terrifying. Out of nowhere, a gun to the back.
When the attacker has a gun, it's a very dangerous situation. You should only fight back when you have no choice, and you must know there are things you can do.
Is there a way to disarm an assailant in this dangerous situation?
Okay, everyone, we're gonna show a defense against a threat with a gun to my back. We are using a real gun with some ammunition rounds. So it's extremely dangerous. The set turns into a hot range now. I want to see everyone putting their safety glasses on now.
Jonathan Dugas will serve as the bad guy in this scenario. He'll be using simunition rounds. These are training cartridges that fire a non-lethal, but sometimes painful dye marker instead of a metal bullet. Amir will try to disarm his attacker without getting shot.
Move.
Stay down, on your stomach.
He took control of the situation. But how did he do it? Slow motion reveals the secret behind Amir's incredible takedown. First, he decides which hand his attacker is using to hold the gun and turns inward, taking his body out of the line of fire. This allows him to control the arm holding the gun. Amir then seizes the weapon and uses the gun itself as leverage against the attacker's wrist and trigger finger. Amir's expertise even allows him to reverse the gun and use it himself. For the average person, the goal is to wrench the gun free and get away fast. The entire exchange takes under 5 seconds.
On your stomach!
It's clear that physics, physiology, and training can help you defend yourself, turn an everyday object into a weapon, and even turn the tables on an armed assailant. But what if there was a way to actually predict an attack and prevent it from happening altogether? Awareness is the key to self-defense. It always seems to happen when people are the least prepared for it. They may be on their way home from work or returning to their car after shopping. Suddenly, their life is in danger.
Give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. Don't play with me. Give me
Hey,
the car
okay, you
keys.
can take it.
The first step in self-defense is exactly as simple as it sounds. Pay attention. Experts call it situational awareness.
Situational awareness means being more aware of your surroundings. You know where you are, you look around, and you recognize a potential danger. You can react earlier, and you can actually deal with it much better.
To show how situational awareness really works, sports physiologist David Sandler has devised an experiment. We'll compare the awareness levels of a self-defense expert to those of an average Joe. Fight Science Director John Brinkus.
Every day we wander around, unaware of our surroundings, and leave ourselves vulnerable to attack. So we have John, who represents sort of the average, ordinary, everyday person.
For him, detailed awareness comes very low on his list of priorities.
I think that I'm like the typical person where I'm not paying particular attention to any one thing. I'm usually on my cell phone and usually just sort of occupied in my own thoughts.
And we have Amir, who has over 20 years of martial arts experience, 3 years in the Israeli military, and has been teaching self-defense for over 15 years.
For Amir, awareness is second nature.
Well, naturally is to pay more attention to your surroundings, meaning where you are, who is around you. I must stress not to confuse being alert with being alarmed. It's not that I'm paranoid and I'm looking for attacks. No, I'm just more aware of where I am.
To illustrate how careful perception can be the difference between life and death, Joshua Yakuban from Applied Science Laboratories outfits both subjects with an eye tracker. It will reveal everything they're looking at and what they're not.
All right, so John, while you're getting fitted here, the plan is we're going to have you go for a little stroll, and we're going to see what happens as you're taking your walk.
So this is seeing exactly what I'm saying.
This is seeing exactly where you're looking.
All right.
The objective of this demonstration is to illustrate the difference between an expert's situational awareness and the untrained eye of an average Joe.
All right, so John, we want you to walk up the stairs over there, walk down and around, and come back down the stairs and come back to us.
All right, I'm gonna be on my cell phone like I always do.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
Go.
Right away, John is too focused on walking to the stairs to notice the two threats to his left. The eye tracker records what John is looking at, but there's a big difference between looking and actually seeing. His sight lines are erratic, and although he's generally aware of his surroundings, he's not focusing on key details that could alert him of a possible threat. Now, Amir's trained eye will be put to the test.
As I walk through, I may prevent a situation just by seeing few steps ahead.
Amir's eyes sweep back and forth in an organized pattern.
I add the element of deterrence. I don't seem like a victim. If a potential threat do come up, I know how to react faster and better because I was able to spot it a fraction of a second earlier.
The difference between what John and Amir saw is striking. The eye tracking software reveals that John glanced at his subjects, but he paid more attention to obstacles in his way. Amir's perception was radically different. He scanned each subject thoroughly, looking for small details that would indicate a threat level. By just being aware, one can increase reaction time by 300%.
Looking at the waistband, looking at the arms, I'm looking for some bulge or protrusion, something outstanding or suspicious.
It could mean the difference between life and death.
I didn't see anything really that Amir saw. I was just concerned with getting to where I was going. if this was a real life scenario and if any one of these guys was a threat, it absolutely did not register with me, not because I'm not capable of recognizing it, but because I'm not trained to look at the world that way.
So step one in self-defense is situational awareness and avoiding trouble before it happens. But what do experts do when trouble finds them? And they have no choice but to fight back.
Give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. Don't play with me.
Their first enemy isn't even the bad guy. It's their own mind and their own body. It's called the fight-or-flight response. And it can either make them victims or fighting machines. The body's first reaction to a threat is in the brain. The hypothalamus region alerts glands in the body to the potential danger, which instantly flood the bloodstream with stress hormones like adrenaline. These hormones increase respiration and heart rate. Some blood vessels throughout the body constrict, limiting blood flow to less vital areas. Others dilate, sending nutrients and oxygen to the largest muscles like the quads, triceps, and calves to prepare them for action. Attention to hearing decreases, pupils dilate, and vision narrows, focusing on the threat. The physiological change is literally a transformation of mind and body.
Give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. Don't play with me.
The critical question is, will he shut down or defend himself? Instead of running, he chooses to fight back.
When you're attacked, adrenaline pours into your system. Through knowledge and experience, you learn to use it to your advantage.
Data shows that harnessing this adrenaline can actually increase a person's reaction time by over 100%, and strength by more than 300%.
Through training and understanding, you can move from a passive state to an aggressive state without hesitation. Stay down, stay down, stay down!
So being aware of one's surroundings and understanding how to use the body's natural reaction to a threat are key in self-defense. But what about an unseen attacker? It's one of everyone's worst nightmares. It's no accident that criminals often choose the cover of night or dimly lit areas such as a parking garage to attack their prey.
Criminals choose to attack in the dark because it's easier for them to sneak up on their victims, and later it's harder for them to be recognized.
We wanted to know if fighting blind is really possible. To test this attack scenario, we've asked our self-defense specialist Amir Peretz to wear an assortment of special sensor modules. It may look ridiculous.
The things I do for science.
But the data could save lives.
So what I've done is we put 12 different sensors on your body right now, and what we'll be able to tell from those sensors is how fast your arms are moving, how fast your legs are moving, how much power you're generating.
It's called the FAB system, which stands for Functional Assessment of Biomechanics. This network of three-dimensional sensors will track Amir's body movement in real time, so the scientists can analyze the exact dimensions of his reactions.
Okay, we're all calibrated out. So we're gonna simulate this attack. So I think we're gonna make it a little more challenging, right?
Yeah, we're not going to make it that easy for you. We'd like to see you do it with a blindfold on.
This is exactly the test that is most realistic, because self-defense means that you start in a point of disadvantage.
Playing the aggressor is mixed martial arts fighter Sam Shadeh. We brought in a pro because Amir will be fighting back for real.
Okay, Amir, in order to get our best numbers, we want you to be able to go out as hard as you can on Sam. So we've put a protective suit on Sam because we want you to be as realistic as possible in terms of the moves that you make when you counter his attack. So, David, you want to go ahead and put the blindfold on him?
So we're taking away your primary sense here. This should be quite interesting.
When you're attacked in the dark and your vision is limited, you must rely on different senses in order to protect yourself. If it's through touch, if it's through hearing and feeling where the attacker is.
Amir has no idea where the attacker will be coming from or what he'll do.
3, 2, 1, go.
The struggle happens so quickly, it's hard to see what really occurs. The data and slow-motion footage reveal his strategy. As soon as Amir senses the aggressor's point of contact, he minimizes the space between them so he can control the situation without his sense of sight. He relies on his sense of touch and actually pushes his body into the attacker, determining his opponent's body position, weight distribution, and possible exposures.
I grabbed him right away and kept him closer to me, see where his weight is, counterattack, and throw him over.
His attacker didn't stand a chance.
And it doesn't matter whether you are 150 pounds or 300 pounds. You have to use momentum and leverage to your advantage.
This time, Sam will attack from the front.
3, 2, 1, go.
Again, the exchange is over in a matter of seconds. And once again, fighting completely blind, Amir comes out on top. The data reveals how. It starts with fighting the instinct to flee. Amir actually moves into the body of his attacker so that he can maximize leverage and find targets to strike. He uses his strongest, most direct attacks, like a knee to the groin or solar plexus, which pushes the attacker in a bent-over position. As Amir spins around, he places his right hip in the pelvis of the assailant just below the center of gravity. Using pure leverage, he pulls the attacker over his back and slams him on the ground. Of course, for the average person, the knee to the groin may have been enough to effect an escape. For one final test, we've added yet another element of surprise. The attacker now has a 9-inch Bowie knife, and Amir doesn't know it. It's truly a blind attack.
3, 2, 1, go.
Give me your money.
Amir's first reaction went straight to the greatest danger, the knife. From here, he can both immobilize the biggest threat and detect his attacker's body position. Amir moved his hands at 72 feet per second, over 49 miles per hour.
Then you can trust other senses to continue and counterattack.
He follows it up with rapid-fire kicks to the groin to subdue his attacker entirely. The whole exchange took less than 5 seconds. Amir's ability to gauge the relative position of his own body and the body of his enemy is called kinesthetic awareness.
Kinesthetic awareness is where an athlete is really aware of all of their surroundings.
Go.
Amir obviously has an incredible ability to be aware of everything around him. You take away one sense, his other senses are heightened, and he's that much more powerful, and he's still able to be in balance and have great coordination and produce incredible power.
The key to self-defense is being prepared both physically and mentally.
Self-defense begins with the mindset of not thinking of yourself like a victim.
So what we saw here is that being aware of your surroundings, being able to kind of use your other senses, knowing the anatomical weaknesses, you can pretty much fend off any attack, even if you can't see.
It is very hard, but it's important to remember there are things you can do through training and understanding. You will improve your reaction time and your confidence to react.
The experts agree. In self-defense, the most powerful weapon a person possesses is not a gun. It's not a knife, or a key, or a stick. It's their brain.
Recognizing a threat a fraction of a second early can be the difference between life and death.
They're aware of where they are and who is around them. They know the weak points of the human body and how to exploit them. They think about what's available to use as an improvised weapon. They know how to disarm an assailant and use other senses when they can't see. The bottom line, they're aware and have a plan.
Build yourself up not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Be ready. Don't be a victim.
Because knowledge really is power when it comes to fighting back.